popular. So welcome to our bold branding webinar. Tonya McKenzie. I have been in branding and PR for over 20 years, off and on. I caught on toggled back and forth between public relations, advertising, and marketing, right? So all of those things actually play a part in the kind of PR that I do, mostly with civic organizations, law enforcement, political individuals, and nonprofits. Nonprofits has been my bread and butter for a very long time. Probably my first experience was working at the YMCA, where we had to raise a lot of money to open a new building, but we did not have any money to pay me. So not only did I have to learn how to do that, grassroots planning, but use PR to help get the word out about the things that we were doing, because the first thing to go usually with nonprofits is what? The marketing budget.
Yep.
So with that, it was like, okay, I'm sorry, you want me to raise enough money to build a building and we don't have marketing? Like, how do you do that? But the most unique part of that is the fact that we were in a town that was becoming a city. So again, you have this unique perspective. How do you spin that? How do you put that out to the media to make it something that they actually want to cover, right? I was new to this city. Let me be very frank with you, is there weren't a lot of faces that looked like mine at the time. Actually, there may have been 4, and 2 of them probably worked in facilities or something. So they were not used to us. And I was told on several occasions while trying to make this project happen to go back where I came from. I was like, so I'm sorry, where's that, Northridge? Because that's the college I went to, or San Jose. And that is not what they meant. I think you know what they meant. So, it was a uphill climb the whole way. One of the most important lessons that I learned is that we can always assume what people want and what they want to hear and what's pleasing to them. But the truth of the matter is we have to be listeners. We have to be active listeners in what the communities that we're serving or our target audience wants to know about. So sometimes that's, market research. Sometimes that's just one-on-one conversations. But at the end of the day, it became a matter of us telling our story to the media for them to pick up what we were putting down. And once I saw that getting traction and saw myself and my employees and our facility and our project in the news more often, it really made me understand what gets covered in the media. And there were times where I really needed some coverage and they were like, yeah, that's kind of weak. Then I would find out what it was they were looking for, right? To then go create a story that they would pick up on. And part of that, the most important part of that, is the branding part. So with YMCAs, there's like 1 million of them, right? And they're all independent. So learning lesson, they're all independent. And they're all independent. There's associations. So you can belong to an association, but every association is also independent of headquarters. And so they all have their own identity. So then it became, how do you brand this association to stand out from the others, of course, because if you're trying to get corporate dollars or partnerships, you have to find a way to stand out. Why would they give us the money instead of the one in, let's say, Oakland, right? What is it that we are doing? We started forming partnerships with some of the major players. So our first brand partnership was with the A's, the Oakland A's. And then our next one was with Kaiser, Silver Sneakers. So we started developing programs that were specifically for active older adults and using all of that to really brand our facility, Mind Body. We eventually raised over $1 million and opened that new facility. Coolest part about the whole thing is I can go back now to this city, which is Oakley, California, and see the facility that I helped build. It's, of course, bigger than it was when I left, but it is being able to look back at that and say, I was a part of that, right? And all of it came down to the branding portion of it. How did we brand our facility, our association, for them to say, okay, well, we're going to give you money for this project. We see the bigger picture. We understand, because our brand was so solid at the time and everything that we did lent to that, it was easy for them to make a decision, right? It's easy for people to recognize if they want to be a part of what you have going on, if you tell your story in a way that they feel connected to it, or that their company feels connected to your mission. And that is what we'll go through today. So before we get started though, let's go around the room really quick and give your 60-second, 90-second pitch on who you are and what you do, so that I can understand who I'm talking to. So let's go ahead and start with you, Ms. Gia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gia Neal Sneed. I own a creative business. I'm a jewelry designer, hair wrap designer, and custom t-shirt and merch consultant. So that's what I do at night.
Very good. Dominic?
Hi everyone, I am currently a communications consultant at Kaiser for an IT project. I'm also an MBA candidate at University of Redlands, and I just thought I'd come and check out this webinar because I have an interest in learning more about storytelling, and I'm working with a couple friends to help them establish their brands for their businesses. So definitely looking forward to learning and gaining more information.
Miss Melissa?
All right, hi, I'm Melissa Jobe. I am an actress in LA. Currently, my day job, or maybe transitional job during COVID, is a producer for a brand new TV show. And so I've been spending a lot of time working on branding the host for this show and all of his stuff. And I thought, well, I really want to start spending some time on branding me, because I have a lot of projects that I'm working on myself and with other people. So that's why I'm here, is just to take advantage of all of Tonya's coolness and her expertise. So
I love Melissa. Love her. Miss Tandra, how you doing?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Tandra Price, and I have a passion for helping women win in business by plugging them into the power of networking. I help women build online communities globally. And, currently today we have communities in Hawaii, Mexico, California, Texas, Oklahoma, Wichita, and Kansas. So we have communities spread it out all over, and we actually do workshops and online courses. If you ever free, any ladies, that we do a networking event every Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Central Time, and we would love to have you. I'm here to just, learn something new, so I can be able to give this resource to my ladies in the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for being here. Again, this is recorded, and it'll be going to the rest of the those that signed up. So I definitely appreciate having actual faces here. That's super cool. I'm really tired of Zoom. I think no matter how awesome you think you are, people have Zoom fatigue. And, it's just getting a little old. But I will tell you that we just got a report that we might be off Zoom soon, and we might be able to start meeting again. We're going to have our first board meeting in public. It's going to be an outdoors facility, but I'm so excited. Oh my God. Lord, I don't even know. Super excited. So thank you guys for being here. Everybody should have got their, this little tool that I made for you. Yes? Did anybody not get it?
Yes, I got the book.
Cool beans.
Yes.
Melissa, Dom?
yes.
All right, cool. So again, we are just talking about branding. Now, I'll tell you, I had a recent opportunity to speak at a women's conference, and our whole panel was about bold branding. And the question was, why bold branding, right? What is the difference? What's that all about? And most of the responses were that they are very consistent, right? They're very timely. They stand the test of time. And when you look back on them, they're still there. They're still consistent. They're solid, and they're loud. It's not a whisper. It's not like, I'm not sure what she does. Something, she do a little something with it. No, she is all about crafting. She is a stellar actress with a strong palette for comedy. Like, it is very well defined, it is loud, and it stands the test of time. So when we talk about bold branding, it's, don't be quiet about what you do. Feel confident enough to be able to say every time someone asks what you do and how you stand out. So that goes down to your value proposition, that goes down to how you emotionally connect with others. You want to make sure that you are so confident in your brand that every time you step in a room, every time they see your colors, every time they hear your name or your company's name, they know what they are talking about. They know, right? So I've been working with authors, entrepreneurs, business owners, personalities, and helping them just grow their public persona. I have my own story. I come from a pretty tumultuous background, but many people didn't know about that. That's not what I wanted them to know about until I was ready to tell them about that. So the gun violence, the witness protection program, all of those things, that wasn't what I wanted them to know about. So I actually started at a pretty young age with my personal brand, because I had decided I am not going to move forward in this world with other people defining who my image is. I am going to define who I am. And now that I can see how surprised people were to know these other things, it is proof that you can define who you are. You can shape your public image by telling your story. You tell them the story that is most impactful for what you want them to see about you, right? You don't, we're all very multifaceted. And if we try to tell everything, it's too much for people to process. You have to decide what you want to be known for and really hone in on those things and form an emotional connection with your target audience based on those things. So if you're an actress, that is what you are projecting. That is going to be a part of your message every time you put something out about yourself. And it should be consistent across the board on your Facebook, on your Instagram, on your Twitter. The image that you want out there is the one that you should be telling, never allowing for the public to kind of define you and come up with their own ideas. It's really about the story that you want to tell and how you want to connect with them. Okay. What do you want people to think about you? Like, I want you to spend some time on that. Like, what do I want people to think about me? And part of this book is really giving you the opportunity and, use your own notebook, whatever the case may be. But I don't really believe in a lot of words, but this is kind of wordy because it makes sense for you to spend some time on that. And don't be afraid to say what that is, because some people, okay, so we talk about the bold branding aspect. Some people are afraid to say that. Like, what do you want people to see? I want people to see me as A, B, and C. That's it. Don't be afraid to say that. An amazing actress that can play any role. A merch consultant that can come up with the most unique designs, right? A PR professional that can tell anyone's story after spending time with them and get a media person to pick it up. Whatever that is, be confident in saying that. We pull back sometimes because I think we get a little worried that it might be a little too big or I'm being too ambitious. Do that. Be ambitious, be big, and be bold about exactly what it is that you want. Your brand should position you as a business leader, as the leader in that position, not, oh, I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna play in the middle somewhere. No, we're not coming to play in the middle. We're coming with where I want to be at, where I want to be positioned in that field. You may not get up there, but you're definitely going to get higher than the middle because you're coming with a very targeted perception of where you want to be, and everything that you do should play into that, right? Everything that you do should play into that target position that you want to play. So don't play small. That's really what bold branding is about. Don't play small. Don't, feel any kind of reservation about playing big and deciding that's where I want to go. So when you tell your stories, you know, you want to make sure that you are emotionally connecting. Don't pull back. Don't feel like, oh, that's too much. They might not be ready for that. If that's where you want to go with it, take it there. Like really lean into who it is that you are trying to be and who you want to be positioned as. Okay. You need to be in control of your image in all impressions. On some level, you have to be your own publicist. Say that all the time. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. Your personal brand is all about who you are and what you want to be known for, or your company's brand. Um, you gotta feel it. Like it can't just be something. I'll tell you a story real quick. I had a friend that had decided after he retires, he was going to open a CBD company, right? He wanted to do CBD. So we talked about it and I was like, hey, you know, there's a lot of CBD companies out there. So you really have to decide how you want to stand out. Like what's going to be your niche? Are you going to, you know, do gummies? You going to bake goods? Like, what are you going to do? And his answers was kind of like, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, first of all, you're not spending any money on marketing and PR until you decide that part. Never heard back from him. And then about a month later, we reconnected and I was like, hey, you know, where do you think? And he goes, well, I'm not really feeling it. Like after we talked, I really decided that's not who I am. But that was great because even though it's not a, you know, he's not going to be a client, you're not wasting money on trying to develop a brand that you aren't bought into. Like you're not bought into this junk. Somebody told you to do that. It's not, you weren't feeling it. So after our conversation, and I really was like, you're not giving me any passion for what it is that you're trying to do. And the truth is, if you're trying to grow your personal brand or your business, there has to be a level of passion that you are unapologetic about. Right? There's something in there that's like pushing you forward, because I think by now everybody has learned that entrepreneurship is not something that you just kind of do, right? Or what does my husband say? It's if you're not making money at it, it's just an expensive hobby. You're not going to make any money at it if you're just playing around with it. You have to be all in. And to be all in, you have to have some level of passion and emotional connection to it. So just make sure you have that for whatever it is you decide to do next minute. Or for you, Dom, working with other people that are trying to shape their brand, finding where they are emotionally connected to what it is that they're trying to do, what they're trying to build, what they're trying to sell, what they're trying to galvanize their target audience about. That is hugely important. And if they can't give you any emotion, then, you know, challenge them. Like, what are you feeling right now? And I think sometimes we pull back a lot on the emotional aspect of it because we're not really taught, you know, in business, there's emotion. No. This is emotional. If it fails and you have no emotion about it, you didn't really love it. So we have to be honest about those things. So look at your mantra, the heart and soul of your brand. It's not your mission statement, okay? It's your emotional appeal. Determine your description. Come up with a descriptive modifier that brings clarity to the emotional modifier. Identify what or who your brand is for. Who's it for? Who's your target audience? As an individual, yours might be an industry, healthcare, education, or it might be a tangible skill, creative, strategic. Like you got to start tapping into these words that help you kind of move forward from an idea to a real brand. So questions to consider is what field or industry am I in? Where's my slide at? I'm tripping. What field or industry am I in? So you got to really think about what field or industry it is that you are trying to penetrate. What words do others use to describe me or your brand? Come up with descriptive modifier that brings clarity. Like, okay, that makes it, okay, I get it. You know, sometimes you're talking through it and other people don't get it. Talk to other people and bounce these ideas off other people to see like what it is that they are getting from what you're feeding, right? Because what you don't want to do is go start doing some marketing or something, and then you have to keep changing up your wording. You have to keep changing up your message. Bounce it off of other people and see if they get it. Like really start, hey, if I say this, what does that make you think about me? Or if I say this, what does that make you think about my company? Would you come to me for that? Would you come to me to solve that problem for you? Because every company is really a solution, right? What is the solution that you're coming up with? So even with you, Melissa, you're an actress. Well, if I'm a director or producer, why would I come to you? What problem do you solve for me? You're agile. Is it comedy? Are you genre specific? Or are you just that flexible and that awesome? I can cry on a dime. Like,
Right.
what is it that would make someone come to you? And be industry specific. Don't be afraid to be specific. It doesn't mean that you can't broaden those descriptions later. It just means that you're going to hone in on your target audience to start becoming the expert in your field. And that's fine. You can always expand. And that's the cool part about it. You can always expand, but we have to decide who our target audience is, because if we spend a lot of time just throwing our stuff out at everybody, like throw it up against the wall and see what sticks, you're wasting time and you're missing your target. It's just all out there. You might get a few. It's almost like they teach us in PR, like spray and pray. I'm just going to do a blanket email to everybody and see who picks it up, and then they might cover me. No, we have to do our research, know who we're talking to, and then customize it to them so they can then decide if they even want to be bothered with us. Yes, it's a lot of work, but the payoff at the end of the day is like, oh shoot, I'm on the cover of, or oh, I got my client on this. Same for you as you're working on your brand. You get those messages tight every time it goes out. It's targeted, it's focused. People don't have to wonder, like, why is she sending this to me? You know why I'm sending it to you. This says right there. Don't be afraid to get specific about your brand and who you are trying to talk to, okay? Again, your function. What exactly do you do? It might be something that directly relates to your career, or not, right? You could have like so we got Gia, she's a police officer, but she also has her merch consulting, and she makes amazing merchandise. That is not specific to her career, but it is specific to her business. So what does that look like? I customize fine jewelry for TV personalities. Don't be afraid to say that. You think you might lose out on something by saying that? No, absolutely not. Even those that you're not targeting might be like, I'm curious. But you want to hone in on who you want to gravitate to your brand. That's important. So plenty of information here. The emotional appeal is absolutely necessary. Don't be afraid to tap into those emotions. Make people feel something when they read something about you, or your brand is out there. You want that emotional connection. Even if they don't hit you the first time or the second time, they get curious. They want to know, right? Be dramatic. Use words that people are curious about, not the stuff that you hear often. Don't be regular. Be bold. Okay, find those bold words. Look at the answers to all your questions, all these questions that I give you in this manual. Spend some time on them, okay? Just spend some time on them. How can you combine them into a short sentence or phrase that means something? Your brand mantra should communicate clearly who you are and what you are about. It should be simple and memorable and inspiring to you. Let me go back to say this, which is hugely important, particularly when you hire people to do work for you or things of that nature. People think, I'm just going to do the work and I'm going to do the work and make everything amazing. We are cheerleaders for you, right? Your branding is your cheerleading for yourself at this point. You are your biggest cheerleader. You have to come up with something that you are emotionally attached to, something inspiring to you. Because if you are connected to it in a way that every time you hear it, you're like, yes, that's my stuff. It makes you work that much harder for it. If it's simple and it's boring, you are going to lose interest in it yourself. How do you think you can sell it to someone else, or sell yourself to someone else, or sell your business to someone else if you are bored with it? Let's be honest. We come up with these things that we think people, this sounds good. This is what it's supposed to be. Drop that. Start moving forward with things that drive you, that excite you about your brand, not what you think you're supposed to say. It's not about what you're supposed to say. It's what is true, what is dynamic, and what is different about you. Not words and phrases that are common. We all know these words and these phrases that just get overused over and over. Let's not, okay? Be creative. People like that. People like to see something come across their desk that is different than others. And everybody on this call, as far as I can tell, is unique. Dom, you too. The way you think, it's unique. The way that you move is unique. So spend some time, get you a thesaurus, and find some things that will help you, that will resonate with you in a way that evokes passion. Like, yeah, I'm about that. Dynamic, different. Be strategic about your words. What service do you offer? How does that help people? Find phrases that really move you in that direction. And just don't be afraid of things that sound a little different, okay? And just remember who your target audience is. That's really what's going to kind of move the needle forward for you, is understanding your target audience. So particularly with you, Dom, and Gia, you work with different people with different logos. And Melissa, if you don't have your logo yet, just make sure you get a logo. We had a friend who shall remain nameless that would not get a logo for the longest time. It drove me nuts. We were like, what are you afraid of? And sometimes I think people forget, yeah, you're married to it. You're married to your logo. And it should be everywhere. And if you're embarrassed to put it everywhere, then clearly it's not the logo for you. So make sure your logo, in regards to your branding, it's everywhere you are, because it's all about you, or your brand, the brand that you guys are working with. It should be everywhere. Like Dr. G, his logo should be everywhere on everything he does. If he does a social post, his logo should be there. It should become memorable, right? But you want to make sure it's versatile. It's designed professionally so that you have all of the elements so you can put it on other things. If you're sponsoring or in a partnership with others, you want to make sure that you can put it places. You don't want to just have, Susie Q on the corner, do your logo. And then when it's time to put it on a step and repeat, you don't have all of the files. These things are important. You have to invest in the things that represent your brand. Hugely important. It needs to be unique, right? And like the words that you use to describe your business and tell your story, it needs to be memorable. It needs to connect. The first person it needs to connect with is you. Because again, if you are not excited about it and you don't feel it and it doesn't mean something to you, then how do you expect to convey that message to others that you want to partner with or that you want to pick up on what you're putting down? You have to be able to connect emotionally to all these things. And at the end of the day, I really think that's what it comes down to, is that emotional connection piece. But first, it starts with you. How do you feel about it? There are design templates. You can get your own. Your tagline. What's the company's tagline? Hugely important, because it's something that you need to be able to say and repeat and repeat and repeat. Yes, over and over again. What? Coconut smile. Like how many years have we been saying a coconut smile? It don't change. It ain't ever changed. They might change a little bit of the aesthetics on the commercial, but a coconut smile has been around since my birth. And we're not going to talk about how long that's been. So yeah, just make sure you spend some time on it and you come up with something that really works for you. So Dom and anyone else, Tandra, with any of your girls that are coming up with, oh yeah, and Gia, you make merch. Color science is a thing, right? It's a whole thing. So I put it in there just so you guys can spend some time with it. I'm sure if you do more research, you'll come up with more words, but really look at what it is you're trying to give off. Strong, bold, funny, wealthy, energy, friendliness, Is your brand cheerful? Is it tranquil? Is it regal? You know, are you trying to, portray it up here? Is it earthy? These are all things that you want to think about that give some level of value, emotional value to your brand. That's important. You don't want to just have random colors out there and they don't mean anything to you. Like, I'm not really a purple girl, but I think that regal, truthfulness, high quality, those are all words, yes, I would love associate with my brand, but I need to find other words or colors that represent those things that aren't necessarily purple. I'm not a purple girl, but those that love it, it's definitely making sure that those words mean something to you and have some level of quality, add some level of quality to your brand. Now, of course, if you're you don't care about earthiness, it's a sports drink or something, you're not going to have green if it's not earthy. You want to make sure that you don't take away from the quality of your brand just because you like a particular color. It needs to make sense. It just needs to make sense. All of these things you don't want to have pink in there if it has no level of femininity in there. I mean, come on, we all know pink, it represents women and femininity and sexuality. It's a given. So you want to make sure that the things that you put together for your brand make sense. It has to make sense because it tells a story in itself, right? It tells its own story. Look at a brand, tells a story, a level of blue, wisdom, mystery, a little sophistication, loyalty. Those are words that totally resonate with what I'm trying to give off. So there's vast array of blues in what I'm always doing. Tranquility. Oh my God. That's it for me, right? That really makes me feel like every time I put something out, I'm putting out a piece of me. You're getting me every time you see my logo. So all that being said, I also gave you some opportunities to just kind of play with it, play with the words, play with the colors, see what feels right to you as you're putting it together. Now, I keep bringing up target market. Some of you missed this part. I was talking to Melissa, but your target market is important because you don't want to spend a lot of time trying to market to everybody. Just throwing it all against the wall and see what sticks. We're not doing that. You start the way you grow your brand and you make it a bold brand, because we're talking about longevity, is you have your target market. Who are you talking to? Whose problem are you solving, right? And then you go a little deeper and you want to find out what are the characteristics of these people, because then you start thinking about the language of those people. And you want your marketing and your branding and your message and your mission statement to reflect something that person would resonate with. It has to resonate with your target market. Okay. Research your industry publications, see what they're saying. What are the statistics on those people? Once you master your target market, your brand grows, because those are the people that love what you're putting out and they tell other people about it. That's how you grow your brand. You deliver up the goods on what you're promising and they tell other people about it. They usually affiliate with other people that do some of the same stuff. So they're going to tell them. Let's say you're baked goods. You can say baked goods. We have a I don't know if any of you guys have been to Cake Buzz LA. So Cake Buzz LA, I like cakes. They do drunk cakes. And I have friends that drink. We go get their cakes. Cakes are amazing. I tell my friends about them. Now they're ordering cakes for birthday parties and anniversaries and any kind of party that they're having at their house. I was the target market. I'm close to them, so it was local. They know what I like. So their marketing was focused. And once they delivered up the goods, I'm able to tell other people about it. And it has continued to grow. They are actually, they've been on KTLA and all the cooking channels and great stuff. They have a great story. But it really started from that target market and getting the people that love what they put out to enjoy it enough to tell other people about it. Great story. And it can also be your story. You master your target market, who these people are, the culture of these people. We did this study at the Y, and we had been talking about, what is culture to you? Like, really think about, what is culture to you, right? And people, what black people do or white people do. Culture isn't just black and white, Asian, Hawaiian. It is the culture of construction workers. What do construction workers do? They get up, long days, early mornings, late nights, come in, rough hands. So if you're looking at selling some kind of, let's say, a skincare line to just men, that would be a perfect demographic. The culture of the people that want what you have to offer. Spend some time on that. These are things, as you're shaping your brand, that aren't quick things. They're not quick. They're things that you actually think about, you sit on, you see if it feels right, you test it out. Just remember that before you start marketing, trying to do PR, advertising, you get your marketing, your branding, you get your branding right, your message. What you don't want to do is formulate a brand, start marketing, start pushing it out, and then change it. Because anybody that has picked it up before, now you're confusing them, right? They're like, I thought you said,
Yeah.
And then you've wasted money and you've wasted time. So instead of spending that time really carving out who you are and what you want to say to people, a lot of people rush it. So by the time they do master it, they've already wasted tons of money, right? They've wasted tons of money and tons of time. So if you spend that time on the back end, doing the research, having the conversation, even sometimes talking to yourself, I talk to myself sometimes, make sure you spend that time before you spend that money. It will grow a lot faster. And it will do a lot more, give greater benefits to your brand. Because when you're pushing out something consistently, it works really well. It's that back and forth, and now it's this, and now it's that really causes consumers to be like, whatever. They don't know who they are. It could be a clothing line. Okay, we're going to start putting out clothes for plus size women. And then they're like, nah, maybe we're going to do maternity women. They're like, so what am I? Like, where do I fit in now with what you're putting out? Okay, never mind. I'm going to go over here. Because you got to understand too, people make snap decisions in regards to their spending sometimes. So once they pick up on something that they like, they want it. They want to keep using it. So if they start picking up on you and you turn around and switch who you are, don't think they're going to turn back around and start using you again. It doesn't work that way. Now you can expand your brand, but what you don't want to do is leave people confused and not sure who you are or what it is that you're putting out. So I put some of these things together for you. So your target market considerations, the things that I was telling you about, the culture of, right? The culture of these people. What is their age? What is the age of your target market? Their income level. Again, you always think, oh, what I have to offer, it's great for everybody. I mean, it might be, but you have to speak to a particular target market first, and then it will grow. Trust me, it does not work the other way. The spray and pray is a waste of a lot of money. Actually, it will catch one or two or three or four of who it is that you are trying to talk to. But at the same time, how much more money are you wasting with the marketing, the click per pay, the pay per click, the shooting out 1,000 different flyers or however many views. Use that on the people that will help you grow your brand. Spend the time forming your target audience, nailing that down, and then it helps you with your marketing later. It helps you decide who you're speaking to. So then your language can always be the same. Your target, even if you change the image, the language, some of those key words are the same, and people that are in your target market pick up on that, and they know that you're always talking to them. So, when your brand is solid, remember it takes about 7 times before someone takes action. But can you imagine if you start shooting out information and then you change it, then you got to start again? just take the time on the back end and be consistent. But here are some, some things for you to think about in regards to your target audience. What do they do for fun? What is their lifestyle, the people that you're targeting? And definitely, Dom, share this or any of this with anybody else that you're working with, but it's for people to really think about as they're formulating their message, as they're formulating their image, as they're formulating who they are going after and who they're going to target their collateral, their marketing collateral to. So just spend a little more time on it on the back end and you'll be fine. The following questions will help you shape your brand. So we're not going to go over those, but you can spend some time on those. And if you have any questions or what did you come up with, or can you give me some examples, just email me and we can spend some time on this stuff. Who is your audience now? And who do you want to be your audience? So sometimes I'll take you, Gia, for example, whoever you are dealing with now, who your customers are now, that might not be your end result. So if you need to start pivoting a little to decide who you want your brand, who you want engaged in your brand, take the time to look at that. Like, I'll be honest, you deal with some crumb snatchers right now, but I think you also deal with some big fish. Who do you want to be your customer? And let's hone in on those people, right? Because the crumb snatchers going to come. They're going to come. They're going to keep coming because you're delivering the goods. But at the same time, you got to focus in on who you want your customer to be. Now, that's the part of the bold branding. It's not, okay, well, I'm going to take who come for me. No, I'm going after this, and I'm going to make sure that my messages are targeted to that group of people. It's okay. I've said this before. It's okay for you to decide who you want buying your stuff. It's okay for you to decide who you want speaking about your brand. That's who you want to target when you're shaping your brand. That's who you want to target. Use the language that your target audience wants to hear. So you have some people that are like, okay, she cool. No, I want this group over here. So I'm going to start focusing in on them. So if you need to kind of reshape some things or retool your message a little bit, but make sure the quality of your content still stays the same. The quality of what you are putting out still stays the same or elevates. That's fine too. Elevate. But don't just be like, oh, this is who I have, so this is who I'm gonna stay with. It's not about what they want. It's about who you want speaking about your company. Who do you want to service? That's what your concentration is on. Describe your personality. What are words that describe you or your brand or your company? This is important because the next question is, wait a minute, we did this one. What you don't want people to say about you. Where's that other one? That's my favorite one. So who are your competitors? Who else speaks to the same group? So who else speaks to your target audience, right? You need to know who your competition is. Hugely important. What is your competition's brand position? Where are they at in the market? Where do you want to be in the market? Are you new? Do you want to be someone that's looked at first? If your products are in a store, where do you want them to be? Do you want them to be at the cash register or do you want them to be down the aisle somewhere? All of these things are things that help shape your brand position, where you want to be seen at. If you are a PR firm, where do you what group of people do you want speaking about your brand? Like, where do you want to be seen? Those things are important. And where's your competitor? Who's using your competitor? Me, I'm in a field of my own. I don't run into a lot of brand consultants and PR consultants that are in the law enforcement civic organization. Like, they don't want to deal with that. Most people in my field are in like entertainment and sports. And I made that decision. This is my lane. I'm going to play in my lane and I'm going to talk to these people because I speak that language and I can speak it in a way that I'm confident about, right? So I'm not playing with the entertainers, sports professionals. Now I can, but that's not my language. That's not my lane. And I'm okay saying that. So whatever it is and whoever it is that you want to speak to, do that. Speak that language. But look in magazines and media that deal with those people. And wherever it is that you want to be seen, work for that, but let that be your target. What problems are you solving? These are other things for you to just kind of think about as you move through. What is your value proposition, innovation, service, or solution intended to make an audience or decision maker attracted to you? To you, not to them, to you. You have to decide what it is that you want, and you will sculpt your message around what you want and where you want to be seen. Okay. So again, not to keep you too long, there's a plethora of questions for you to think about. But again, I say, spend time on the back end working on this, because it will save you money. It will save you time at the end. And if you have people that you can run these things by, you make sure that it's clear to them. Sometimes we get in our head and we're like, oh yeah, that sounded great. And then you say it to somebody else and they're like, wait, what? You're like, wait, what you say? Come again? Okay, yeah, no, I didn't really get that. I didn't get that. So it's fine. If you need me to run some stuff by, feel free. But what you don't want to do is start putting out messaging when people read it and they're like, right. I don't want this to be due on you, okay? So let's work it out on the back end. And this is my favorite, okay? This is my favorite. I should have put it at the beginning. What words do you never want associated with you or your business? Feel free, yell out a couple.
Flaky.
Cheap.
What'd you say?
Cheap.
Cheap. Praise the Lord. That was my favorite one. Undependable. Dom, you got any? Janky? No?
I'd say absent, like
Absent?
communicate well.
What if you were someone in the food industry? Nasty? Sickening? Stinky? I mean, these are all things that help you as you're creating your product or creating, I work with a girl that has a makeup line. The makeup is amazing, but it had a funky smell to it. It's a chemical, right? We have to remember that. But she never thought about that. I'm like, do you want anybody being like, oh, that lip color is bomb, but what's that smell? Like we have to be honest about things that we want our brands affiliated with, and we definitely do not want our brands affiliated with, okay? So be honest about that. Sit with yourself for a minute and be like, I never want to hear someone say my brand is boring. Boring is no, we never. Boring, never. Melissa, never want to hear anybody say anything about anything you do and call it boring. Gia?
Absolutely not.
Cheap? Absolutely not. I mean, I'm cussing out manufacturers, okay? Nothing better break. We got a problem. But we want to make sure that we hone in on those things that we do not want our brand affiliated with. It is just as important as the things we want our brands affiliated with. So again, spend some time on some of these things. If you're serious about building a brand that lasts the test of time, don't start advertising until you have done the homework. Marketing tactics are the last step. It's after you nail down your messaging. After. Okay, so make sure, don't waste the money, work on it on the back end. If you need help with that, that's what we're here for, and that whole thing. So lastly, Stand & Shore's branding method, it's peace and goodwill. Everything we do has personality. We talk about positioning, the image. There's a level of equity, like how it handles everybody, right? How everybody fits into the picture. Communication, you have to communicate well with the public. Your brand has to work well with the public. Experience, we talk about how much experience you have and how you're able to show that, and goodwill. Every good brand has a level of goodwill. How are you helping others? How does your brand or yourself, if you are your own brand, contribute to the betterment of our society? These days, especially with COVID, the way it has left us, there is a level of goodwill in every brand that stands the test of time. Even the largest brands, the smallest brands, they give back. They incorporate some level of goodwill in what they do and in their brand. Make sure you don't leave that part out. So the Sand & Shores branding method, peace and goodwill. And that's in your packet. And, you know, it just kind of helps to guide you with things that are proven. I left this in there. Work on your elevator pitch. Once you answer all those questions, you should be able to get it, write it, edit it. People are like, what are you talking about? They don't get it, rewrite it, edit it, and then perfect it. Perfect your elevator pitch. Sometimes you only get those 90 seconds. Make sure you are on point and you're ready. Your words that you are spitting about your brand make sense to you and the people that you are talking to. So your branding is important in what situations? You get your branding down so that you can master your marketing, your PR, any freelance work, acting work that you want to do. If you are looking for a job, this is the thing I try to get people to understand. Your personal brand is important too. So when you are in a company, some people are, oh, I don't need a brand. I work for Target. I work for Kaiser. I work for whoever. You still have a stake in where you go from there. Either you are branding yourself to move up to the next level, or you are branding yourself to move to the next job, right? And those words that you want affiliated when people speak your name are important. So think about that, because it's either, again, to move up or to move to the next step. And you want those words affiliated. So when people are asking about you, these are the things that they say. And your moves are in line with the words that you've associated with your personal brand. Now, if you work for a company, you don't necessarily have to write it all out, but just know, this is what I want people to think about me. This is what I want people to see me as. This is who I am. So that every move that you make lends towards that. Your brand is not just about the words, it's about your actions also, right? That's the part of the consistency. It's the words that are affiliated with your brand, but it's also what you do to reinforce those words. So if you want to be seen as the most dependable, you're dependable, you get things done in a timely fashion, you're a great communicator, those are the things you want to affiliate with you. Make sure that everything you do and all your actions lend towards that. If you're an actress and you want to be seen as one of the easiest to work with, she's always well rehearsed, on point, motivates the team, blah, 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 blah. Think about that and make sure that all of your actions lend to that. The words that you want related to you, also the words you don't want related to you, right? So again, you get your branding down, job searches, they're great for advertising yourself, career advancement, partnerships and collaborations, and then of course, social distinction. So the things you put on LinkedIn, the things that are in your profiles on professional sites or social sites. The words have meaning. Content matters with us. Content matters. So the things that you fill your content with are important. And in summary, once you bring it all together and you complete the branding process, move on to your marketing PR, take your brand into everything that you do. The people that have the most significant brands are authentic in their actions. The words that are used and the actions that they perform are very authentic. It's not something that's replicated. It's not something that they're forcing to do. It's an authentic movement that they make. If you are a hard worker, you get things done in a timely fashion, you're dependable, those are things that will always show in your actions. They're not just made up. They are very authentic. Take it into everything that you do, because everything you do lends to your brand. So with that being said, thank you guys. That's all my information. I think you guys already have it, but questions, comments, concerns?
I think this was amazing. You did an awesome, awesome job.
Stop lying.
And I just seen, like, I love the fact where you're so right, because it does come down to who are you actually, trying to prospect. And I think that one sheet that you have, I mean, we talk about, who your ideal client is, but how you broke it down into those different categories is really, really nice. I mean, I think you can have that roadmap and show somebody, okay, so now here, look at this, and now figure out where your target audience come from, which one of these areas they come from, and then they can piece it. So I love that. Love it, love it, love it. So yeah, you did an awesome, awesome job.
it's hard because we really want, oh God, we want this thing to just blow up. We want this thing to explode. We want everybody, because we know how hard we work for something. We want everybody to get the good stuff that we have to offer, but we really have to hone in on our target audience. We make those authentic connections. Like Tandra, you and your women's group, amazing. They have an authentic connection to you. And the easy part is then they tell other people about you. That's also a level of PR, but your brand and who you are as a businesswoman is what solidifies that, right? And you consistently give off the same energy. It's not like, okay, today you on fire, and then the next time we talk, you like curled up in the back. Your energy is consistent. Your content is consistent. You are consistently giving off a particular vibe, consistent language to the women that are in your group. You don't talk to them like you're talking to men. You talk to them like you are talking to these business women. So when you talk about the culture of, you're dealing with a culture of women that are business women that are trying to connect and grow their own businesses. So that's the part of the culture that I think is important, is knowing who we're talking to. Like Melissa's going to be talking to directors and producers and things of that nature, other actors and actresses. The language that she uses and the energy that she uses is definitely going to be different than who you are talking to. So really researching who those people are, and then who they are at that moment, right? So real estate agents right now, their energy and their culture right now is different than what it was before. They're not having these extravagant open houses and doing the things that they were doing 6 months ago. So when you're having these conversations, or if you have a brand that's targeted to them, you have to stay in tune with their culture right now, because that is what's going to connect you to them. If you're selling something to them or you have a service for them, that's what you have to be in tune with. But if that's your target market, you're already there, right? You focus in, you've honed in on what's going on with this group of people that my service is for, and then you can talk to them in their language. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Anything else? Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, I wanted to say first, Tonya, this has been truly helpful. Thank you so much. I can see how I can help with the people I'm working with, and also with my own personal brand, because I've been struggling with what is the story that I'm trying to sell. I'm good at putting it together when it comes to interviews and all that kind of stuff, but as far as just selling it through digital means or anything that, I struggle with that. So I think this might help both the people I'm working with and myself. I do have a question for you. I want to get your thoughts. So one of the guys I'm working with, he's creating a hair product for men. It's a organic product. He's very much into, healthy, being healthy, and he is a stylist as well. And one of the reasons why he's making this product is because he said that men don't take care of their hair, and he wants to show that it doesn't take that much time and it's not that hard. And with this product, you can take care of your hair easily and your scalp. But I think when I was working with him, I probably jumped to the marketing stage because his target audience is men. But I was telling him, normally men, we find out about these kind of stuff through women, through our moms, our sisters, our girlfriends, our wives. So maybe you should target towards them to get the men. But I feel like I'm going against his brand, what he's trying to produce for his brand. So how do I go about balancing those ends? What his brands are, but how are we going to sell your product in the beginning?
I mean, I actually think maybe he should start with a particular sector of men, right? So what man are you talking to? Are you talking to a man that has women in his life? Are you talking to maybe civic workers, men that are out there working hard all the time? Like, pick a sector of men that he is targeting, because some men do take care of themselves. Some men take care of themselves better than women. So it's hard to be, presumptuous in a situation like that when the culture of men has really expanded so much over the years, right? You got metros out there now. They know about taking care of themselves. They put me to shame. So I think it would benefit him to actually focus in on a target of men. I have a men's skincare line who is for men in particular that is a skincare line for men that are out in the environment a lot. So it's working for him because he can target in on construction workers and patrolmen and electricians that are outside on a regular basis. And then those images and that language that he uses reflects them. Some of them have wives, some of them don't. But at the same time, he knows he's dealing with people that have, they might have bad skin because they spend a lot of time in the sun. So then you can start to really target in on what are the culture of men that spend a lot of time outside. So for him, we could spend some more time on this. I think it would benefit him to look at the exact target instead of just men. It's the target of men. Are they earthy men? Like, do they also do yoga? Right? Do they drink green tea? Who are these men? The culture of the men that he's trying to target. And then as you center in on those men, and some of those men will probably tell other men about the product if it's a good product, or they ask. Men start asking each other now. They're not as shy as they used to be about things that are about self-care. It's becoming a lot easier to have self-care as men. So looking at who the target audience is and starting to have those conversations and be more distinct about that. And then he can expand out to all men. But who are the people that he's talking to? Once he defines that, then it's easier to go back and really look at the messaging and where those people are. Like, who are those men? They're natural, they recycle. Are they in California and Florida and the West, the West Coast or the beachy areas? Just looking at really who those men are in his target audience and then expanding out in his brand and his messaging. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's the fun stuff. We can always just go test out the market. Fun stuff. So yeah, you guys, the manual, definitely use it. Let me know if you have any questions. You guys all have my contact. It takes a little time. You got to have a little patience with it. But the people that you work with, Chandra, the ladies that you work with, Dom, the clients that you have, Gia, with your brand, take time out, step back from it, have these conversations, find the language that works for your target audience. It's okay to decide you want your product to be seen here. Say that. Don't just hope it gets there and you playing small ball over here. Like, let's be like, this is what I want to do. This is who I'm talking to. And go from there. Okay, guys, I'll let you go. I love this stuff. Clearly you can see. So,
Yes, you do.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tonya.
all right, guys, well, have a good rest of your evening. Let me know if you have any questions. You know where to find me.
Cool.
Have a good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.